Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Well, the end of 2020 is nearly in sight, gang, but the good news is that 2021 is destined to be much better. And let's face it, it doesn't need to be too much better to beat this year, does it? But if you are a tech enthusiast looking for how technology alliances have solved industry challenges and empowered people to unlock their full potential, this podcast is for you and will keep you on the right track. And in the Citrix Ready podcast series, I explore how technology can empower people and organisations to unlock innovation, engage customers, and be productive anytime and anywhere. So today I've invited Cyrus Hurley onto the podcast, who brings a proven track record of IT leadership in his role at President at Zuryc. Now, Zuryc is a partner to its clients, solving business problems with tech solutions, all by eliminating the burden of traditional IT obstacles. And it's their seasoned professionals that deliver an experience that's focused on security, scalability, and speed. And most importantly, pairs customers with tech that evolves as their business goals change. And I've also asked Chandrika from Citrix onto the podcast too, who is a senior product manager with a wealth of knowledge about the Citrix ecosystem, which I believe is now focused on serving 1 billion users. So I want to learn more about how Citrix and Zuryc have built a relationship that is making it easier to build a new future of work, avoid obstacles of the past, and serve those evolving needs of businesses. But enough scene setting from me. Let's get Cyrus and Chandrika onto the podcast now. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
My name is Cyrus Hurley, and I'm the president of Zuryc. And Zuryc is a cybersecurity firm that focuses on the remote workforce, and also with making sure that remote workforce is secure and can connect to resources internal and be mobile. We currently are partnered with we're a Microsoft certified gold partner. We're a Citrix service provider, and we're also a development firm, and we deal in financial services with financial advisors, and have had that exposure for the past 30 plus years.
Hi, my name is Chandrika Srinivasan, and I'm at Citrix. I've been here for some time now, working through engineering, and now I'm a product manager, and I work in the workspace team. So, in workspace here, we're have this great vision to build the future of work. And what I primarily focus on is, we want to increase productivity for our customers and their employees, and what kind of integrations are best suited. How can we, bring in more apps, more workflows into our product, so that, we can cater to the diverse needs of our customers and their employees, and that's been my main focus.
Excellent. Well, I'm excited to get you both on the podcast today, especially as an ex-IT guy. But just to set the scene, Cyrus, can you share how Zuryc is helping businesses solve business problems with technology solutions, but by eliminating the burden of those traditional IT obstacles, which I'm sure many people listening are more than aware of?
Absolutely. So recently we had a customer come to us that's in healthcare. The problem was, they're a Citrix customer also, but the problem is from migrating from an old version of Citrix to a new version of Citrix, there's the inability to save the passwords for their for publishing the application and delivering that application to their end users. And so, as you can imagine, as a healthcare provider, you've got nurses and physicians and these people that are trying to securely, if possible, bypass the first layer of security, which was that original username and password, to get the application that was published by Citrix published, to enumerate and show up on the screen. And then from that moment, they put in their EHR credentials, in which they're authenticated into the system. So The problem is when you've got a long-term nursing care facility, in this instance that operates 24/7, 365, they have med passes every few hours. There's this incredibly intense, feeling of providing good patient care and eliminating human error, but adding in these passwords for these machines to launch an app was not going to work for these people. So we sat down, Derek and I did, and we talked about, well, how can we create a passwordless single sign-on that would be supported by Citrix and would add cybersecurity to the end user's experience while not sacrificing the end user's experience. And so we developed we obviously chose certificates in cryptography, and we developed a dual CA certificate authority system where the NetScaler trusted a device. The device was what was connecting into the Citrix environment from the service provider level. And at that point, the NetScaler talked to Storefront talked to Citrix Federated Authentication Service, then the internal certificate authority to see if the account was valid. And then it returned a virtual smart card if the account was valid back to Storefront, in which Storefront allowed the delivery controllers to enumerate the application. We did all of this with a pre-built custom enrollment tool that actually, when it's ran on the end user devices, we generated a certificate on the device name. We connected through a secure API to the back end system and allowed the machine to be created in this new Active Directory that was supporting the Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktop 719, one of the long-term service releases. So basically, in a nutshell, the problem the customer presented was, we can't have all these providers entering in the same, these usernames and passwords just to get to the HR. So we built using cryptography and certificates, a complete passwordless single sign-on. It uses the certificate on the local machine store to get all the way through to Storefront, and then they can launch the app. If the machine is outside of the facility, it doesn't work. We have the app lists locked down via IPs. And so that's one example of how Zuryc solves problems using technology. And that's, in this case, we decided it was time for the technology to work for us and not the other way around, which is what we usually have to battle.
And there's so much value in what you're doing there and the kind of problems that you're solving, especially considering there have been so many challenges for every business and every industry this year. And Chandrika, can you tell me a little bit more about why having a secure remote workspace is so important now, especially when families could be sharing their own machines when they're working from home?
Yeah, absolutely, Neil. So, I think this pandemic has taken all of us by surprise. Like overnight, our personal and work lives have been overturned. I mean, nobody was really prepared for this level of working from home, right? Even with our existing Citrix customers, and Cyrus referred to, like a healthcare provider, they are big Citrix customers and who use technology that already enables remote work. They needed some help scaling up, because nobody was really expecting their entire workforce to be at home at the same time. So, but now even as we start transitioning back to work, right? I mean, there are offices that are opening up. I think businesses should add remote working readiness to their agility toolbox. This works for both employers and employees. As employers, you want to attract the best talent, and this may be anywhere. It could be in London, it could be in San Francisco, or it could be, in Nanjing. And your choice of workforce shouldn't be limited by where you are based. And even for on-site employees, I think you're looking ahead at a hybrid model of working where people will spend some part of their work life at home, and we are already beginning to experiment with that. A lot of companies are already saying you can work from home indefinitely. Now, in this environment, it becomes really key to equip your employees with tools, with a secure workspace that lets them be productive, no matter where they are, which device they choose to work on. But most importantly, do all this securely, right? And like you said, kids are at home, they're getting homeschooled, computers are being shared, partners are home. So how do you empower your employees with all these apps and the need so that data is available to them, and yet you have to protect your business, you have to protect your data from leaks, from and this is just inadvertent, right? Like nobody is really trying to get it, but when sharing happens, slips happen. And I think that's where the suite of products that we have at Citrix, they can help you with that, right? That because, where there is data and, comes when you want, it's a dual-edged sword, right? There is availability, which is key, but with availability comes security. So how do you maintain that balance of making data available and yet locking it down? And I think that's the fine balance that we are trying to achieve and deliver through our Citrix products.
Now, I'd love to try and bring to life everything that we're talking about today by honing in on a real-world use case. So, Cyrus, if we were to take, a financial advisor, can you tell me a little bit more about how they traditionally worked and why that old way of working needs upgrading?
Absolutely. So financial advisors would normally have been face-to-face with customers, and that would be either meeting them at restaurants or bringing them to the office. In some cases, they may have offices in their home, prior to COVID. But the way that I think that that this has changed and why we need to upgrade and take a different approach is now everything is done through teleconferencing, Zoom, Teams, Cisco, WebEx, and being able to talk with your customers face-to-face, while I believe is still important. It's also important to equally be able to collect the information you need from a financial advisor standpoint to deliver the plan or to help your customer navigate the trouble with in the markets that are happening now and the uncertainty. So using Citrix and using those other features like single sign-on, being able to connect to the corporate workspace and get all of your apps and data that you need to successfully, present your client with the right options and run Monte Carlo simulations and those types of things, I think is it's very important to stick or to overcome that inability to meet the customer face to face. And so I think in this particular situation, what traditionally worked has to be changed, and it has to be changed so that you're still effective while taking care of your clients and then doing what you do best as an advisor.
With all that in mind, can I now ask that you provide an alternative vision of what life could be like for that same financial advisor who maybe embraces Zuryc's tools, embraces micro apps and remote working spaces?
Well, that's a good question. And so what I think now, life has changed, and who knows if it will ever change back. We may be in this mode or in this zone for a while. And so from a micro app perspective, I really like the idea of how Citrix has allowed disparate applications to be bits of data pulled from different things that make your day work, that make you click, and then brings them all into one dashboard. I used to think that, email, Outlook used to be how we did our work. We would open up our inbox and we would work out of our inbox, but over time it became congested with spam and with other things. And so now using micro apps and Citrix Workspace, we're able to have, secure desktops available to launch that have corporate resources and corporate compliance and guidelines and lockdowns enabled. We have these disparate applications that's allowing us to quickly do things that we normally would have to go into the workspace and do from scratch, so it saves time. We have specific tasks and workflows that come into the workspace. We have the ability to lock down websites and to put watermarks on data, and then also even with the later version of Citrix Workspace, you can enable a security feature where screenshots and snippets can't be taken from the computer itself. And there's anti-keystroke, anti-keylogger capabilities built in so that so you're really able to keep that safe. So, that's what I think this alternate vision of life is like now, is being able to still be as productive, being able to still connect to corporate resources, and then with Citrix being able to embrace the power of these disparate applications coming to you in a quicker fashion and allowing you to fire off those tasks in a more efficient manner.
And it's so refreshing to hear that vision for the future of work that you've got. But even though you described it as a vision there, it's not as such, because they're able to do all this right now. And Chandrika, when you hear how partners such as Zuryc are leveraging the Citrix marketplace to solve real problems and build that future of work, what is it that excites you about that?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that. When as builders of a technology, a platform, we have a vision, right? We talk to our customers, we try to understand their pain points, we see the problem space, and then we come up with a solution, or in this case, a platform. And then we also build a few solutions that are available out of the box, like Cyrus was saying, like this disparate sources of information of data. Like, we build integrations with popular CRM systems and popular ITSM systems that we know that a lot of customers use. And it's very easy for you to plug and play. You create, you have Citrix Workspace, you just one click, you say, I want an integration with Salesforce or ServiceNow. But I think the real magic happens when you share this platform with your partners, with your ecosystem, and they take your vision, build upon it, and create solutions that are so far beyond what you had envisioned in the first place. It completely blows my mind. And it's that potential that we are building at Citrix, right? The potential to do anything, and then our partners take it to the next level.
And Cyrus, what advantages are your clients securing from the PlanFacts integration, and how much work is required to get it into place too? Because there is a lot of very shiny solutions out there that will solve many problems, but it's the implementation and getting up and running which takes a lot of the hard work. So can you possibly walk me through that?
From the advantages that the clients are seeing from using a PlanFacts integration, well, it really boils down to compliance and corporate cybersecurity guidelines and regulations. So, with the remote workforce and being able to have PlanFacts in an app store that can be delivered using corporate single sign-on, whether it be Office 365 or whether it be internal Active Directory, the power is the ability to click an app, to have it show up, and to be able to quickly integrate it with current within the current corporate IT infrastructure. So that's the magic happens on the back end, but to the financial advisor, it's simple. They just click and subscribe to an app. They enter their workforce credentials, and then they're off to the races.
And I also think it's important to highlight that the Citrix ecosystem is so much more than just micro apps. So Chandrika, what is it that you enjoy most about the role in building that future of work?
When we say future of work, I think most of us think that the solution must lie in technology. But is it technology as we know it? Traditionally, we've made it our business to learn new technologies. Somebody has designed it. It works a certain way. Yes, it's very powerful, but we train ourselves to use it. At Citrix, when we think about the future of work, we think technology that works for humans, technology that understands how we work and adapts to it, not the other way around, right? Like Cyrus said, that like as a financial advisor, I need to do these few things, and this micro app, it just like simplifies my workflow. I need to do 2 or 3 quick things, and I need not sort of reinvent the wheel for that. I just need some quick answers. And it's the simplification of the process that I find both challenging and satisfying at the same time. Because how can I make technology speak to me in my language? For instance, I see my work day as, jobs to be done. I need to approve that expense report that somebody in my team has sent me. I need to review that strategy document that somebody has sent me. I must not forget to apply for PTO. But, I don't want to think in terms of Concur or Microsoft Word or Workday, but that's how we've trained ourselves to think about it, right? Like we think about these different SaaS apps and everything, but I want to get my work done. I don't want to log into 3 different places, navigate 3 different systems to get through my morning. I just want to show up at work and do my job without interruptions and context switches. And it's this opportunity to transform the employee experience is, I think, what I enjoy most.
Now, what shines from talking to you both today is that there are no egos, and the key to both of your successes, especially for myself on the outside looking in, seems to be that relationship between Citrix and its partners. So can you tell me a little bit more about the importance of that relationship? And Cyrus, if I let you answer that one first.
Absolutely. So I don't think Zuryc would be where it is today if it weren't for our relationship with Citrix. Citrix has always been in some capacity in my professional career in information technology over the past 2 decades, And with that in mind, I mean, being able to take thick-based apps and share them out, and with COVID coming on and the way that the world had to react, Citrix was the perfect solution to help the world continue going around. And for Zuryc, it's exactly what it takes for us to do our work. All of our workforce is working remote. We're spread across half the United States, and everyone is connecting into our workspace every day. We're on Teams. We're doing these the normal functions of being in offices and cubicles next to each other, spread out over a large area. So Citrix is the key to success for us, and I believe it's going to continue to drive business and client vendor relationships in the future.
And Chandrika, how important is that relationship to Citrix too?
We've been talking about changing the future of work, and we're really, really serious about it. In fact, at Citrix, we've set ourselves a big, hairy, audacious goal to reach 1 billion users. But how do we do this? So we have a whole suite of products around apps and desktops, analytics, workflow automation, content collaboration. But 1 billion is still a really big number. And you know how we were talking about technology that works for humans? Guess what? No two humans are similar, and no two businesses are similar. So, even if we try our best, how do we create a suite of solutions that caters to the need of 1 billion users? And, which is why we're building a platform that enables our ecosystem and our partners to tap into its potential and build solutions that can help us achieve our BHAG. I mean, this is definitely not a vision we can execute alone. And we rely heavily on partners such as Zuryc, and they really are key to our success. They say better together. Like we can't do this alone. Like Cyrus said that they've worked so closely with Citrix over the years. Our relationships have changed, because earlier it was more about on-premise storefront, but with remote working, which suddenly happened this year, and that seems to be the way the world is going. And we've quickly adapted. Citrix has quickly adapted. Partners like Zuryc have quickly adapted to this new way of working, and we have continued to leverage our strengths to build solutions that evolve with the world that we live in. So I think it's absolutely critical that we continue to work. This is something that we can't get done alone.
Well, thank you so much to both of you for joining me on the podcast today. But before I let you go, Cyrus, can I ask that you remind everyone listening of where they can find out more information about Zuryc and anything that we talked about today?
Sure, thanks. So you can find Zuryc online at www.zuryc.com. It is Cyrus spelled backwards instead of an S, it's a Z. So you can find us there. My email is cyrus@zuryc.com. And you can reach our team at info@zuryc.com.
Excellent. And Chandrika, from anyone interested in exploring the future of work, the Citrix ecosystem, or again, anything that we talked about today, what would be the best place to keep up to speed with everything?
So obviously, you can get in touch with me directly if you have any questions. I'm on LinkedIn. Well, my full name, I was a bit of a spelling bee when I was growing up, is Chandrika Srinivasan. So you can find me on LinkedIn. But obviously our Citrix.com blogs, we often talk about our upcoming technologies and what's happening. But really, for anyone who's interested in how we're building the future of work, we have our Citrix Converge coming up. This is a virtual. It used to be a physical conference, but now, like everything else, it's virtual. It runs for 2 weeks from November 2nd to the 13th. And it's good. It's a full 2 weeks of lots of sessions, very developer centric, talking about what are we doing at Citrix? What are our partners doing? What are other independent developers doing? And there are various, streams of, depending on your level of interest. So I think there's a little bit of for everyone. So, do check it out, Citrix Converge, from November 2nd to the 13th. And we can get together and discuss how we build the future of work there.
Well, fantastic. Well, I love how you guys are eliminating the burden of traditional IT obstacles and allowing businesses to navigate around them. And the way that you're building a new future of work that's fit for an age of digital collaboration. But at the heart of all that, and like Chandrika said a few moments ago, if we strip all the tech back, it's relationships and people. That's what makes everything happen and helps you serve that 1 billion plus users together. It's amazing what you're doing there together. But more than anything, just a big thank you for sharing that story with me today.
Thank you.
No, thank you, Neil, for the opportunity. I think this has been fantastic.
I just love how Citrix and Zuryc are working together and focused on that same goal, serving the global community, which consists of around 1 billion users. And one of the main examples we used today was highlighting how different the way a financial advisor would have worked just a few months ago or a few years ago in the old way of doing things. But the new way of doing things in a digital world, and how quicker and more efficient, and how more efficient and safer that role can be. And once again, though, from today's conversation, it wasn't about egos at Citrix or Zuryc. For me, it was the relationship between the two of them there and how they're united on solving real problems and evolving needs and demands from their customers who want to eliminate that burden of traditional IT obstacles. Especially now that the expectation is work from anywhere, not just in the office or in the home. But as always, any questions, thoughts, insights, whatever it might be, I invite you to share them with me on here. You can email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com. My website is techblogwriter.co.uk. If you want me on social, get me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, just look for me at Neil C. Hughes. But before I sign off for the day, a big thank you for today's guest for taking the time out to come and speak with me. An even bigger thank you to each and every one of you that tune into this podcast all over the world. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.